Come on, man. Come on, man. Okay. Molweni kuni nonke, igama lami uthando lwethu, abanye beni banazi ngoCoffee Mac, Tata Wesizwe, and welcome to yet another installment, or rather exciting installment of the TikTok Finds. We're talking about some of the impeccable artists I have discovered here on TikTok. And on today's episode, we will be talking about none other than 12 Dogs, an alternative hip-hop group based in Gauteng, Johannesburg. The group members include Justin, Black and C, Tabi Holele, Kabir Jukrim, I hope I pronounced that correctly. We also have Lucas van Garderen. Okay, you know what? We'll just go with the names. So we have Justin, we have Tabi, we have Kabir, we have Lucas, as well as Lumko. So these are the 5 members of 12 Dogs, and today we'll be analyzing their album Consequences of Sound. I know that they have recently released a new project called The Fireflies, which I haven't necessarily given time to listen to and to indulge in. So which is why I have decided to do an episode, or rather I'll be doing continuous episodes on Consequence of Sound, because that was the first time I was actually introduced to their music. It was one night on Spotify, and then the song literally just came on, and I was like, damn, who are these guys, right? Are there people in South Africa who are actually making music like this, right? So 12 Dogs recently was featured on Professor Sky's record review YouTube channel, who is, I would say, a well-known record reviewer, someone who does hip-hop analysis and also reviews songs that have just dropped. And he was actually doing a review on their album Fireflies. If you'd like to check that out, it's available on YouTube at Professor Sky's Record Reviews. 12 Dogs, bro. I've been wanting to do an episode on 12 Dogs. But the first time I heard their music, I knew that I actually wanted to feature them on Cover Art of the Week. For their Consequence of Sound cover art, because that cover art is just so drawing. It's like the model there is just, it's giving that energy. So I was like, I have to do something with this. I have to use this. And but I believe everything has its own timing, and I think that now is the perfect time for me to do this, because I feel like I have grown in this space, and my research skills, or rather how I attack things now, has gotten better. So I think there's some things I can tackle and show off how great 12 Dogs actually is. So when I first got introduced to 12 Dogs, it was on Spotify. Who was I listening to? I think I was listening to Zuri. I was listening to Zuri's album, the one with the red background, and then all of a sudden a song just came on from the 12 Dogs, and I was like, whoa, who are these guys, right? And then I literally went into a deep dive, and then I checked out their album Consequence of Sound, track 1 to track 10. Amazing stuff. I was like, what is actually going on here? And then I went and I checked them out on Instagram as well, to find out these dudes actually play instruments. Bruh, right? So that was amazing. That was the first time I was introduced to 12 Dogs. But also doing an episode on them, I felt like it was a bit daunting, because there's so much to uncover and so much to unpack from their projects, their music, how they attack sounds, and how they're very intentional with the things that they say and the messages that they put in their music, right? So you can also tell that it's not something that is just done on a surface level, but rather there's an angle, there's a method to the madness, right? So that's why it was a bit daunting, and for that reason I can see that we'll never cover 12 Dogs in one episode, or rather in an hour. So what I have decided to do is that from now on I'll be doing a week by week analysis of Consequence of Sound, right? So each episode I'll be talking about a specific song and how it correlates to the whole theme, or rather the subject matter of the album, right? Okay, so let's get into it. So Consequences of Sound was actually released on the 24th of September 2021. It was mixed by Darren B. It was mixed by Darren B, who is a producer that has worked with the likes of Koi Leroy, Coco Jones, Mary J. Blige, Nicole Zuraitis. Yeah. So you can tell what's in G. Like just from that, it's okay. Yeah, bro. So we'll be talking about the cover art. Like we're not gonna go into the music today. So this week's episode will be specifically about the cover art as well as the song name. So let us start with the song name, Consequence of Sound, right? So at first I didn't necessarily know what to think of this.
Really, nigga?
And I feel like that was a bit dumb of me, right? Because it's self-explanatory, the consequences of sound, right? Consequence of sound, so whatever it is that you say. And then I went on Google and then I searched the consequence of sound, only to find that there's actually an artist. Oh yeah, before we go into that, dog, I wanted to speak about the name 12 Dogs. Like I always wondered what inspired that, what inspired 12 Dogs, right? So every time I tried searching, like it always gave me the same thing, telling me about a Christmas movie, The 12 Dogs of Christmas, where there's this one girl who, is it Emma? I think it's Emma. Yes, Emma goes to Doverville, and in Doverville there's a no dogs law, right? So Emma uses a pageant to show that this law that they have against not having dogs in the city is actually crap and it's not cool. All right. Yeah. So I don't know if it's tied to that, or because Emma could be seen as a symbol of like fighting for the rights of the dogs, and fighting against a system that doesn't favor everyone, or a system. Yeah, but also 12 Dogs, I don't know, 12 Dogs, since also 12 Dogs' music is very political, and it also tells stories like normal stories, but also Consequence of Sound is a very political album. It's a very political album, and it's but you'll see all of that when we go into detail with everything. So I was always interested in knowing, why is it 12 Dogs? Also, there aren't 12 members in the group. There aren't 12 members in the group, so I was asking myself, okay, why is it 12 Dogs? The group is made up of 5 members, and they also had Nico Mac, who was also a member of the group, but he then later on pursued a solo career, I believe. Yes. So let's go into the name, Consequence of Sound. Right, so as I had said that I went on Google and I checked Uguti Consequence of Sound. Could that be like related to anything, or could it, But what I found was there was actually a singer-songwriter, or rather an artist by the name of Regina Spektor, who had released a song called Consequence of Sound from her album, which was released on the 25th of February 2002. I believe the album is Consequence of Sound, right? Where she talks about, apparently, according to a source I found, it said that she was talking about the effects of like speaking spoken word, and how like maybe when you say something, you don't know the effect that it has on the next person. It could have a positive impact on their life, or it could have a negative impact on their life, right? So even as Kendrick Lamar had said on Anti-Diaries towards the end, where he says he didn't know that words had so much of an impact on people's lives, and he thought that they were just sounds. If like they were said without any intention, then they didn't do any harm, right? So he then found out later on that it's not like that, because anything you say has power. Like it has the power to affect someone's life either negatively or positively, right? So now that is what we're going to be getting from. So after reading this, I thought, oh, consequence of sound. Okay, so 12 dogs might actually be alluding to the fact that words have power, right? And if you're not careful in how you use them, they might affect someone negatively or positively. And also considering the fact that they make music, now we get to see Uguti, will this project impact us negatively or positively? What kind of emotions will we get from this project, right? So it's a thing of will you get motivated? Will you feel more emotional? Will you get enlightened? Or because they're also giving out a sound. So now then whatever that follows that sound is the consequences of whatever it is that they had given us, the listeners, right?
Music is a spiritual thing. You don't play with music. If you play with music, you will die young. You see, because when the higher forces give you the gift of music, musicianship, it must be well used for the good of humanity. If you use it for your own self by deceiving people or doing this, you will die young. You see, and I've told people this many times. So I'm going to prove them wrong and prove myself right. Because now I'm 44, I'm getting younger. Because I'm doing it right.
Yeah, man. So yeah, that's what I think that was. And then I was like, oh, okay, cool. Consequences of sound. So now there's a bit of a direction, you know. Even the name itself just feels poetic. I don't wanna lie, the name itself feels poetic. That was the first thing that drew me in. I was like, oh, okay, damn. Also with the blue cover art, right? The cover art is like one of my favorite parts, but like when I did my research on it, I was like, damn, I was actually geeky. Like I was geeky, bro. Like I was geeky. Yeah, well, okay, so let's go into the cover art, right? So on the cover art, we have a young male figure who has his arm resting outside a car. Yeah, bro. He's in a white t-shirt and a sporty and also gloves, right? He has his arm hanging outside of a blue vehicle. The one thing that actually struck me about this cover art is how the model is actually looking at you. It's like he's gazing straight into your eyes and he's looking straight at you, like it's like he's soul searching. It's like he's searching your soul to try to see. And the model on the cover art is actually Senamiso, who is a brand owner, or I believe, yeah, a brand owner, a brand known as Padral, yeah, Padral or Padral, right? And he's also, I don't know what he does at Creative Corner, but he has that on his bio. I believe he's a part of the media and the people who because there's one thingy where I think he was interviewing. What was he interviewing? I'm not sure who he was interviewing, but he was interviewing someone. He does street interviews, and he was also on Freshman Mag where he was interviewing Zuchi Coke Dope, right? Yeah, he was interviewing Zuchi Coke Dope. So the way he like captured, I don't know, man, like the way he was just looking into the camera was just it had a menacing tone to it. Like it was a bit threatening. It wasn't, you know, it was it was cold, bruh. It was cold. It was giving like Papa action on Yizo type vibes. It was giving Papa action on Yizo type vibes, yeah, bro. And what I also said on the fact that he's wearing gloves, right? The fact that he's wearing gloves, what kind of was a symbol of, I felt like it was him having intentions of going to rob someone or something. Yeah, but like, have you seen how these niggas pull up to you on some? So I felt like it was giving that energy, and I actually wrote down here on my notes, it's giving Yizo energy. Yeah, but and I did say, you can see that there's anger in his eyes, right? There's anger in his eyes. So I also did say that the gloves he has on, are usually used to like pick up trash, like pick it up, gloves and all of those things. It's just for like handy wear and yeah, but Yeah, so that's what I was saying. And also hanging out the window with that. Oh, I said hanging out the window with that stare does offer a sense of intimidation. Yes, it does offer a sense of intimidation because the way he's looking at you is like, oh, wait, nah. Yeah, boy, type shandy. So yeah, man, that shot is just, it's pulling, it's drawing. It's like you actually wanna see what he's gonna do if he pops out that photo type thing. So he captured that energy really well of being a gangster or someone who's on his way to rob. Like, have you seen in movies where there's like a passing shot when the camera is passing people, and then this guy is like just hanging out the hood, and then they're about to go do something wrong, and then they show that one dude who's looking at the guy in the car, and then he has that look. So that's the look that Senamiso actually had, right? So in me saying that, it kind of reminded me of Upapa action on Yizo Yizo. I was like, you know what, let me try and see Jerusalem first. Yabo? Let me try and see Jerusalem, and then let's see what we can actually draw out. Because in one of the pictures on 12 Dogs Instagram page, there's a picture where Senamiso is actually hanging outside the car. Yabo? It's like it's in a field, a dirt field, and all of those things, and he's actually hanging outside the car. So I'm like, man, I've seen this thing before, right? I've seen it in a movie somewhere. Let me go and check Jerusalem, which, yeah, man, like a blockbuster about a character like Ikunene, which is played by Utau on Generations. I'm sorry, I forgot the name.
Okay. Once, twice,
3 times, damn it, Dauda!
But I'll put it, I think it's Rapulan. Yes, Ndate Rapulan. I think so. Yes. If I'm not mistaken. Right? So yeah. So I was like, no man, I've seen that thing before, right? So I go and then I check Jerusalem and I watch Jerusalem, but not all of it. I just skip certain parts, skip, and then I finally find a part where Ulaki is the one that's driving, right? A young Lucky Kunene is the one that is driving. But his friend is actually hanging outside the hood, and he's driving a what? A red BMW 325. I believe it's a 325i, right?
and while we were becoming the hype.
It's a 325i. Yeah, well, so I was like, oh, okay, there's a correlation, but it wasn't necessarily spot on, right? So I went back, and then like as I'm going back and trying to see if there was actually a scene where Ulaki and his friend were being chased by cops, and then they actually escaped into some garage and stuff like that. They were actually driving an MK1. A red MK1 Koda in this instance. But what we actually see when 12 Dogs actually got like a wider shot of Usenamiso and the guy who was possibly driving, the dude is in a blue MK1. Yeah. So now we see that there's actually a correlation, and we see the kind of energy that Usenamiso was channeling, right? So they're in a blue MK1, but a young Lucky Kunene was in a red MK1. And also I said to myself that the use of the blue vehicle could also be used to symbolize the coldness in his emotions, right? Because the look, that stare is just a dead stare, bro, and it's not like just chilled, like, okay, I'm just looking into the camera. It's like he wanted to embody something, right? He wanted to, and I did say that still waters actually run deep. Still waters run deep because of how he's looking at you. Is just giving that emotion of, yo, like this bro's about to do something crazy, right? So still waters run deep, and when we get to see again with that picture I was telling you guys about of him hanging outside he's actually wearing a T written hood, right? Hood with a BMW logo, right? And on Jerusalem is a movie that was released. Wait, for those that actually don't know,
Later.
oh, Jerusalem was actually released on the 29th of August 2008, right? It was released on the 29th of August 2008. Yeah, it's about a story about a guy who like works his way around the system and comes out on top. You guys should definitely check it out. It's a South African classic. I can say it's a South African classic. Amazing film, amazing production. But what's crazy is that it was actually said to be a box office bomb, right? Like $2 million or $2 or $3 million was used to shoot the film, but then it actually generated 400,000 rand from box office, which is crazy because it's such a classic, dog. And I do think that it probably got more views over the years, and it just got better with time, because it's aging like fine wine, dude. Like, it's an amazing movie, right? Yeah. So what I was saying was, as he's hanging outside the window, and he has the hand gesture of a gun, right? So clearly breaking the rules, because we know that hanging outside the window of a car is breaking the rules, like you're breaking road regulations, and symbolizing violence. The use of a gun symbolizes that he's not coming with any, cool vibes. Is it ambivalent? I don't know if I should use the word ambivalent, but yeah, he's coming with a menacing energy, an energy of violence and energy of anger, right? Like he type shandis, yabo. So we also get another picture of him standing in front of the MK1 in a work vest, or reflector rather, and he also has the gloves on, and he's just giving that energy of someone who's on the field and I'm working, yabo. So from these pictures that I saw, we then get to see what, okay, Senamis was actually channeling a younger Lucky Kunene from Gangster, yabo. So cop chases, they're riding the red yabo, okay. The red MK1, I also did say that the use of the red in the MK1 in Jerusalem could be a sign of heat, yabo, because the cops are following them. So obviously, since the cops are following them, there's heat on them, and that car had just been stolen. So iyashisa, yabo, a red MK1. So iyashisa, it's hot in the streets. That's what they're saying, yabo. But the blue MK1 may signal a melancholic tone in the album, right? The blue MK1 may signal a melancholic tone, because we know that the color blue is sometimes used for sad, emotive, like sad things rather. Yeah, so that's what I was getting from the, and then I was like, okay, since the two contrasts, right? Because they could have chosen to get a literally a red one, but they chose to get a blue one, right? Yeah. And also, as I did say, that Sinamiso is wearing a BMW t-shirt written hood, and we actually know, and a hood BMW is a 325i, right? As I've written here, that a hood BMW is a 325i. And what was Lucky driving? A 325. He was spinning in a 325 with his friend. You understand? So now we get to see what, okay, there's actually a correlation between these two things. And also, what was said about the album from, let me check. Oh, from We Are Stereo Fox. Yes, from an article written by We Are Stereo Fox, that the album is about an album about the modern age of post-apartheid oppression, right? Spiritual essence of struggle and the struggle at large, right? So with the use of a young Lucky, we get to see that, because we know that Lucky was smart. He then made it, but the problem is he didn't have funding to then continue with his studies. So he had to make a plan. And then he was this Lazarus? No, it's not Lazarus. Oh, okay. No, let me just. So a hood BMW is a 325i, which is the same vehicle Abolaki was spinning with, right? As I had mentioned this. In on the movie, what's this? On the movie Jerusalem, Lucky then goes on to own a BMW, a black BMW M3 with a personalized plate written Lucky 1, or Lucky number 1. So we know it's okay, he's a fan of a BMW, and he actually did mention it even in the beginning of the movie, talking to his friend Woody, and he just wants a nice house, a nice girl, like nice family with a BMW, right? Which is what most of us, like some people pray for, right? But because of the circumstances and the system, you understand. So so there was also a black and white picture, right? There was also a black and white picture with the track list where Usenamiso is actually dressed like Ulaki after that robbery or hijacking. Get down! Get down! The hijacking that happened with the cabbages and stuff like that, you know, that scene where they watch a movie and then they go and emulate that tactic live, and then they still mining from the bank where people actually die. So Usenamiso is actually also like using, like he referenced how Uyang like he was dressed when he would go and do hijackings, right? So we start to get to see what's okay, like he actually used he actually used. So as I was saying, that yeah, he's actually channeling a young Alaki, and we can see what, okay, now we know where they probably drew the inspiration from, right? So what I was also about to say was that Ulaki can be seen as a symbol of revolt. Yeah, well, someone who outsmarted a system that was meant to work against us people of color, right? Or a system that shows what young people are doomed even before they start, right? Because Silas. Yes. So there's that guy who was a guerrilla. No man, I forgot what his name was, but he was a guerrilla. So what I then checked was, when were the like guerrillas brought back from exile and then brought back into South Africa and reintegrated into the MK and all of those things. So they do say that in post 1991, the reintegration of MK guerrillas into the SANDF, because the same person who taught Ulaki Kunene and his friend how to steal cars was a guerrilla, right? So he was in where was he? Like Gaddafi, man. I think so. Yeah, I think he was that side. So now we get to see what, okay, maybe Jerusalem was actually set post 1991 or post 1994 or early 2000s, right? So 1994, early 2000s, because they do speak about freedom, but they do say that we don't have economic freedom, right? Yeah. So what I was saying was that Lucky can be seen as a symbol of revolt, someone who outsmarted the system, destined to see him fail, right? Although he went about it the wrong way, or rather the illegal way, yeah, but he still did what he did to get what he could get. Because even if he went the straight and narrow road, he went the route of going to school, and then he didn't get funding, right? And now his family was starving, and they obviously couldn't afford if he's a Vets or if he's a UJ. So what he decided to do was, the only way he knew how, he used that way, and then he ended up, in the end, he does have a lot of money, he does live on the beach, but he doesn't have his wife, but he does say that he hopes to bring her along with to the coast. Yeah, well, so in the end, he does get Jerusalem. On the Bible is also seen as the land of milk and honey. So in the end, he does get imvuzo wakhe, where he's actually driving a white Mercedes, and he was dressed as a cop and then came out now, and then he has his money. So in the end, he does win against the
They say behind every fortune is a crime. The greater the fortune, the greater the crime. But I don't know about that. It seems the only people who say that probably never made one. What's important in life is to set goals and go after them. Who knows? I might even talk Leah into moving to the coast. After I've moved into a building, or 6. After every revolution comes a new order, but before that comes opportunity. After all, wasn't it P.W. Botha who said, adapt or die?
Imfudumalo yakho ithumela imiyalezo yeqiniso uma.
Yeah, he does win against the system. And also, the use of a young Lucky can also be seen as them portraying us as the youth, right? So 12 Dogs' use of a young black man can also be seen as them saying that, showing the struggles that we as the youth continue to face, because we still face the same problems that the young Lucky faced when he wanted to go to school and he didn't have funding. A lot of students still suffer from that. They don't have funding even now. There is a lack of job opportunities for the youth. The unemployment rate of the youth keeps rising and it keeps going. So now we get to see what's okay. So 12 Dogs is probably going to be exploring topics such as that. And also, since it was released during COVID times, they did say Uguti, it was, I think there was one thing I read where they said it was actually inspired by COVID and all of those things, right? So, yeah, man. Financial exclusion of black people, good results, but no money to actualize the dream. So we turn to crime, which was a reality for a lot of people back then, right? They would steal, and then, you know, when the system, so I did say that when the system fucks you, you fuck it back, right? Excuse the vulgar, but I did say that when the system fucks you, you fuck it back, right? So the album is set in a post-apartheid era, which also makes sense with the use of a young Lucky, because he thinks that there is freedom in education. There is freedom in education, but now there are no funds to fund that dream. Yeah, bro. Yeah. So now, going back to the album, after exploring the cover art and after exploring all of these things, I do believe that so now, after exploring the cover art and all of these things, I do believe that the 12 Dogs album, Consequence of Sound, is actually going to be exploring topics such as that. Societal issues, yes, societal issues that we face, the political unjust actions, you know, our corrupt leaders that we actually have. So I do believe that after watching this, we're then gonna see, okay, so it's gonna address a lot of those problems. And also in Jerusalem, the movie, there was also a problem with a foreign national selling drugs. Yeah, so which is also something that's currently happening. A lot of people are actually, you know, revolting and arguing that, you know, people are selling drugs, and also xenophobia. So he does also say, this character does also say, these people don't love us, they call us makwerekwere, which is a derogatory term for people who are foreign nationals. That was used a long time ago. A lot of people don't use that now because it's a derogatory term. Yeah. So what did I say? Yeah. This album can be seen as a symbol of revolt and seeking reform. So it's a call out to the leaders to say, do right by the people. Like, the youth is unemployed. we have so much that is going on, violence, sexual assault, and all of those things. And now you must come back. So the use of the blue as well also makes sense, because it's cold, it's bad, it's not right. So now, just from looking at the cover art, I can say that we're probably expecting like melancholic vibe, not too much happiness, because every time, like, even though things may be bad, there's always some time to have fun and some time to just find joy within the despair. Yeah, but the album in its entirety is going to be a sad album, or it's going to be I just believe that is going to be the main theme, or rather the main focus, to address societal issues, to address political issues, or things that affect the youth. What else did I say? Oh yeah, and that was it. So that was it. Shout out to 12 Dogs, man, for such a beautiful cover art. And I actually did want to make it like cover art of the week, but that is our episode for this week of Consequences of Sound. Oh, and also speaking on 12 Dogs, apparently according to Tex and the City, they started out as friends before they then became a music band, right? Yeah. And yeah, man, you guys should check out Fireflies. Yeah, you guys should check out Fireflies. Also, I decided to not do an episode on Fireflies. I think I explained this. Why am I over explaining? But I decided to not do an episode on Fireflies because I haven't necessarily gotten the time to explore, to listen, to properly give it my attention, because I had been interacting with Consequences of Sound most of the time, a lot actually. So yeah, man, that's it from us today, and that is our TikTok find, which we'll be talking about for the next coming weeks. I do hope that you enjoyed this episode, and yeah, you go and check out 12 Dogs, and stay tuned for our episode next week, where we talk about the first single that comes in tomorrow, the intro, which is the intro to the album. Yeah, to the album Consequences of Sound. Thank you for tuning in. That's it from me. Peace and love.